Yes, I'm also good, bro. So, could you study something from the last class or?
Um, yeah, I've been trying to revise and memorize.
Okay, okay. Because
Been
this
trying.
in today's class, we will learn to predict through one of the planets and through one of the rashis. Hare Krishna, Shadul Prabhu. So,
Hare Krishna. Wonderful.
So, for Shadul Prabhu, this is first class. So you'll be attending Hindi or English or both. You can attend both also, no problem.
Okay.
So today we are having
start
English.
with English.
Yeah, we are having English one. So remaining lectures I'll share with you, which are already I have already given. So from today's class, we'll start understanding how to make predictions. So for Shardul Prabhu, there are some basics which we have discussed in previous classes. Once you go through those lectures and the PPTs, you will be able to grasp it. So that you can do before coming to next class, maybe or whatever. Like you can take your own time, whatever is comfortable for you.
Yeah.
So in today's class, if something is going above the head, so you may have to miss it. I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
And once you go through the basics, it'll be clear actually.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, the in Hindi batch actually, they had asked a question. You have any question, Brajraj Prabhu?
No, not.
Okay. Okay. So in Hindi class, they had asked a question about retrograde planets, and I was explaining to them through Vedic cosmology. So Vedic cosmology, if you try to understand, in that motion of planets and stars, that means the nakshatras, is also explained. If you see through that, it will be easy to understand the retrograde motion. What is the retrograde motion of a planet? In simple layman terms, you can understand. Generally, all the planets have a particular direction of motion. From our point of view, when we see in the sky, so we see the planets moving in a particular direction. That will be, you can say it's east to west, something like that. And if you see any planet going in the opposite direction, that motion is called retrograde motion. So planet, what happens, except sun and moon, these two planets do not become retrograde. Rahu and Ketu, they are naturally retrograde. Retrograde in the sense they are always revolving in the opposite direction relative to other planets. So whenever you see a planet and its natural course of rotation, the direction of rotation, if you see if the planet has started rotating in the other direction, moving in the other direction, opposite direction, then it is called retrograde motion. So whenever any planet has to go from direct motion to retrograde motion, what will happen? Suppose this is this is the planet. It is moving in one of the directions, and for it to move in the opposite direction, it has to slow down, become stationary at a point, and then go back. Okay, to start the motion in opposite direction. So whenever a planet goes from direct to retrograde, so what happens? It has three kinds of motion, you can say. Direct motion, which is the natural direction of its motion, and then it becomes slower. Its speed slows down, and comes to halt. It becomes stationary at a point, and then it starts going in the opposite direction. So three things: direct, stationary, and opposite, retrograde. It is said in astrology that the stationary planet is very powerful planet, especially the planets like Saturn and Jupiter. They are very powerful planets because they are the biggest planets in the sky. Jupiter is the biggest planet in the sky. Whenever it goes stationary and whenever Saturn goes stationary, that means either, and it will happen in the opposite also. I mean, when retrograde to direct, when a planet turns from retrograde to direct, then also it will come to one stationary point. So these two planets, whenever they are stationary, all the planets will have this motion except Sun and Moon and Rahu and Ketu. So remaining 5 planets: Mars, Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Jupiter. These 5 planets will have this dual motion. So either going from direct to retrograde or retrograde to direct, there will be a stationary point. So there will be 2 stationary points for any planet. So from Vedic cosmology, you have to understand. Now in layman terms, you understood, right? This is clear. Whenever a planet changes its direction of motion from direct to retrograde, that means opposite direction, it will be called, retrograde motion of the planet. In layman terms. But if you go technically, how to understand that? Most of the astrologers in today's world, they do not know the actual basic, which is given as per scriptures, which is as per the Vedic cosmology. People use the modern cosmology to explain the retrograde motion. But if you read the Vedic cosmology from Srimad Bhagavatam, I read from Srimad Bhagavatam and understood it. But now I could not find any astrologer who has done it. So if you read Vedic cosmology, you will understand, as per Vedic cosmology, Earth is a bhuloka. So it's a tapered structure, which we discussed last time. We had discussed it. Now Earth is below, and in the sky the planets are rotating. Now Vedic cosmology has a geocentric model, basically. At present, modern cosmology doesn't follow that. They don't accept it and they call it unscientific. But as per Vedic cosmology, this is how we have to understand. It's a geocentric concept, and the planets in the sky, they are rotating in particular direction, around Earth. Now, actually, the structure of Earth, if you read through Srimad Bhagavatam, it has been described as whirl of lotus flower. So in between there is a Sumeru mountain, which is like pericarp of the lotus flower, and the petals of the lotus flower, they are different islands of Bhuloka. So there is Jambudweep, which is the centermost island. We are staying in Jambudweep, and around Jambudweep, after Jambudweep, there is an ocean of salt, which we see, ocean of salt. Then after the ocean of salt, there is another island, which is like concentric circle around Jambudweep. So that name is something else, that island's name. And after that, another ocean, another land, then another ocean, then another land. And all these oceans are of different substances. They all are different. Like there is sugar cane, there is alcohol, there is this milk also, and ghee also. So all these different liquids are there, whose oceans are there. Now let me show you in PPT. In a second. You can see my screen. Okay, so I'll just directly go to that slide. It's a long PPT. Okay. So you see here. Now, in this, okay. So this is Earth. This whole thing is Earth. Okay. And then we have Sun, Moon. Now, you can also remember there is a concept of kakshas of each planet, the orbits of each planet. So we can, from here, we can also remember the serial in which all these orbits are, like the bigger, lower to bigger orbit. Now you can see here, Sun has an orbit, and then you see Rahu and Ketu. They are closest to Bhumandal. And then there is, by height, you can see Moon, and there is Sun here. Sun in the right hand side. Okay. And Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So height wise, you can understand which planet is farther. Now Rahu and Ketu are the closest. Vertical direction is given in the scriptures. As per vertical direction, even Sun is closer than Moon, which Prabhupada has told many times. So Sun is closer than Moon. Now above Moon there is Venus, then Mercury, then Mars, then Jupiter, then Saturn. Then there are Saptarishis, and then there is pole star, Dhruvatara, pole star. Now orbit also, you see the smallest orbit is of Moon. Okay, and it's equal to like Rahu and Ketu almost. And then it is of Mars, then Venus, then Mercury, then Jupiter, and then Saturn. I'm sorry. Actually, Mars is shown here, but actually the Mars orbit will be greater. Okay. So Moon, after that Venus, then Mercury, then Sun, then Mars, then Jupiter, then Saturn. Okay. So this is the orbits. Now, these planets will be rotating in the sky. How do they rotate? And where are the nakshatras? Nakshatras are also here. Near pole star, there will be nakshatras. There will be rashis also in the sky. Okay. So here you can see again, moon is there. Rahu, Ketu, you can see. Rahu and Ketu. Rahu, Ketu, sun here, then moon here, then nakshatras are here, 28 nakshatras. Just above moon, 28 nakshatras are there. And then we have Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, and then Saptarishi planets. Above that, Dhruvaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. Okay. Okay, so now how sun will be rotating? It is said that if you take the center of Earth, from there, one of the wheels will be on one of the mountains, which is called Manasottara mountain. So sun will be going up and down on this mountain. Okay, it is not the topic for today. We'll leave it here. But I want to tell you about, and what is Uttarayan and Dakshinayan? That will be like sun goes up and down on this imaginary rope actually. So from Bhumandal, it rotates and it goes up in different Uttarayan is called when it goes up, Dakshinayan is called when it goes down. So during Uttarayan it will be going up, and during Dakshinayan it will be going down. Okay, so if you see sky, there will be you can consider it like a circle, and it is divided into 12 parts. Sky is divided into 12 parts, and each part is 30 degrees. So 12 into 30 is 360. So each sign is taken as 30 degrees. That means sign means zodiac. Each zodiac is taken as 30 degrees. If you further divide into nakshatras, the same sky you can divide into further 28 nakshatras. 27 nakshatras are there. 28th is Abhijit, and it is also situated between Uttarashara nakshatra and Uttarashara and Sramana. Uttarashara and Sramana. So you can further divide sky in 28 parts, 27 parts actually. Okay, so this is how this zodiac, the zodiac is called the rotating wheel, which you are seeing here. This one, it is called wheel of time. This is wheel of time. This is Kala Chakra. Now this Kala Chakra is always rotating. As per Vedic cosmology, this Kala Chakra is rotating, and the pivot of this Kala Chakra is pole star, which is here. This is pole star. So they are connected through pole star, and they keep rotating. Like there is a what do you call that, swing, no, where the children, they use it, and there are different horses, in a circle, and it is connected on the top with a hub. So the children, they sit on one horse and it keeps rotating. So just like that, you can imagine all the zodiacs, all the 12 rashis, they are like this in the sky, and the pivot is pole star. So this Kala Chakra is always rotating. In 24 hours, it completes one circle of Earth. For Earth, if you see from your position, if you see down, if you see up, after 24 hours, the same zodiac will be rising in the eastern direction. And there will be a difference also, because what happens, it is at certain degrees from Earth. So not every 24 hours you will we will be seeing from the perspective of sun, basically how sun is rotating. So this whole zodiac is also rotating, and the sun is also rotating, and the moon is also rotating, and all the planets are rotating. So what happens? You can see from here. In this boy 3 is zodiac. You can consider it is Kal Chakra. So Kal Chakra is rotating. Sorry, boy 1 is suppose Kal Chakra. Boy 2 is sun, and boy 3 is moon. Okay. So example is given in Srimad Bhagavatam only. Now these three children, they are playing on a playground, and they are making rotating around the playground. After 24 hours, this boy 1, or you can say after one complete circle, not 24 hours. After one complete circle, this boy 1 reaches to the same position. But by that time, boy 2 is left behind by 1 degree. He's left by, some, you can say it is actually 1 degree. And the boy 3 is left behind by around 13.5 degree. Okay. So when the next circle will be completed, there will be much difference. Boy 2 will be 2 degrees behind, and boy 3 will be around 27-28 degrees behind. Okay, in the second, when they complete the second round. So in this way, the sun is rotating, boy 2 is sun, boy 3 is moon. So actually they all are rotating in clockwise direction. Okay. But when you will be seeing from your point of view, your frame of reference, you will see that boy 2 is going behind, boy 3 is running behind. If you consider this boy 1 as frame of reference for boy 1, actually they are going behind, they are going backwards. If you frame of reference means you have to consider boy 1 as stationary. Consider boy 1 as stationary. Then what happens? You will see that boy 2 is going back in the anti-clockwise direction, and boy 3 is going much faster in the backward direction. So this much faster is moon. So moon's the speed is much more higher than sun. So moon covers 1 Rashi in 2.5 days. And sun covers 1 Rashi, that means 30 degrees in 1 month, 30 days. So actually they are rotating in clockwise direction only. In the same direction they're rotating. But from the point of view, because we are seeing from the point of view of this zodiac, Kal Chakra. For us, they
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
प्रभु जी, आपने बताया कि जो मून की स्पीड है वो सन की स्पीड से ज्यादा तेज होती है.
Actually, in reality, as per Vedic cosmology, it is opposite. As per Vedic cosmology, the real speed of sun is higher than moon. But when you see the relative motion, when you consider the boy 1 as stationary, then you can feel that boy 3 is going faster in backward direction. So actually his speed looks faster in backward direction. In actually they are coming forward, but they look like going in backward direction. So this backward direction speed is higher than boy 2, that is sun. So moon's backward direction speed is higher than sun's speed. But in actuality, when all three are rotating, they are rotating in clockwise direction only. This is little typical, little difficult to understand. Okay, for time being, you just understand it that they are going in they appear to be going in backward direction. Actually, they are going in clockwise, but they appear to be going in anti-clockwise direction. Now, when they become retrograde means they appear to be going in faster in clockwise direction. That means their speed has gone higher than the speed of the Kala Chakra. When a planet appears to be going in opposite direction, that means he is going faster than the Kala Chakra also. So that is the real reasoning behind retrograde motion. So sun and moon, they never become retrograde. They never go faster than Kala Chakra. But Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, these 5 planets, sometimes they go faster than wheel of time. And the Rahu and Ketu, they are always faster than wheel of time. They are always moving in opposite direction. So they always appear, they go faster compared to, they have a constant speed, but the speed is faster than the speed of wheel of time. So this is the reasoning, this is the logic behind. Now you can understand. From here we can derive some lesson. Whenever a planet is retrograde, that means this planet is very powerful because he is going faster than the wheel of time also. So what will happen? That it will bring very intense karmic results from previous life. When does somebody goes in backward direction? When somebody has forgot something, like you brought some books and you kept it there and you came forward, but then you remembered, I forgot my books, and you go in backward direction. So whenever any planet is retrograde in horoscope, you will always find there will be some repetition. There will be something which will repeat again. Like if Mercury is retrograde, then the person may have a habit of repeating the communication. Whenever a person tries to say something, he will revise it many times. Revision, repetition. These are the symptoms of a retrograde planet. Jupiter retrograde means the person has either his education, his knowledge, he has again and again read the books. He has again and again gained the knowledge. Maybe he repeated the subjects in his class. Maybe he changed the gurus. Jupiter represents gurus. Maybe he changed school because Jupiter also represents your schools there. He's a natural 9th house lord. If Venus is retrograde, there is problem in relationships. Venus represents our relationships, especially the female partner. If a person has retrograde Venus, the person is repeating into relationship. Maybe he's breaking up and then again going back and then again trying. Generally, what happens whenever Venus goes retrograde, people go back to their ex. They get the same person back in their life. Venus retrograde. during the transit. Transit means the motion at present. Now at present in the sky, do you know how many planets are retrograde? At present, I think Mercury has gone direct now. Previously, Mercury was also retrograde. Now Jupiter and Saturn, these two are retrograde. Saturn is Karma Karaka. So the person may quit the job. So Jupiter and Saturn are retrograde at present. So during the Saturn retrograde, person may quit the job. Again become jobless. Or he may go back to the same old company. He may start doing something which he was already doing before, but he stopped in between. There is something odd about that area wherever a planet is retrograde. This planet is definitely bringing some very strong past karmic reactions of your life. Especially related to that house where he is posited and the planet which is posited. So if Venus in 7th house retrograde, definitely multiple relationships it will bring. Because 7th house represents relationships and Venus represents relationships. Marriage. Person may have twice marriage. Sometimes people marry the same person twice. You know, at the age of 60, sometimes people arrange the marriage, you know, once again. So this kind of thing may happen, or one may break and another may come. So whenever you see any retrograde planet, you should remember this planet is going to give some trouble. Some trouble. Something odd will be there. If Mars is retrograde, then there is some problem with the anger issues. Person may be having temper, sudden anger bursts, may be violent in nature. Because Mars is very powerful. Something odd related to brothers will happen. Because Mars represents our brothers. Something odd related to land. Because Mars represents land also, property also. So retrograde planets, whenever you see, you should always check very carefully. But one thing is certain, there is some oddity. There is something wrong. There is something which is troubling that person. Like Mercury retrograde is one way good. Because when person wants to communicate, actually he revises it so many times that the communication becomes very, perfect. Mercury retrograde person will write the email and read it again. After sending, he will read again. Mercury is retrograde. Make the communication first, then again revise it. Read it. Whenever Mercury is retrograde in sky, your communication devices will start going haywire. They will start malfunctioning. Mercury retrograde. Somebody has Mercury retrograde, you'll find his devices may, very quickly, they may damage. Venus similarly. So now you see, Mercury retrograde, Mercury represents your sisters also. Your father's sister. We call in Hindi Bua. So person may, there will be something odd with the sister's life. Maybe a lot of struggle in sister's life. So that way we have to remember, whenever you see any retrograde planet, make your prediction accordingly. There is something, Jupiter in 5th house retrograde. What does 5th house represent? Anybody?
Children and creativity,
Yes. Children and
self-expression in children,
and
self-expression or creativity.
yes. So Jupiter retrograde in 5th house, person is not able to get children. Is not able to get any children. Jupiter also represents children, especially sun. Now Jupiter retrograde, person is not able to get son or children in general. So like this, you'll find Jupiter retrograde anywhere. You will find there is some problem with children. There is some problem. There is some problem with Gyan also. The person has so much Gyan, he keeps giving to people, keeps speaking. Anybody has Jupiter retrograde here? Can confirm? No, nobody has Jupiter retrograde. Okay. I have Mercury retrograde. Any planet retrograde in anyone's chart? I hope all of you know your chart at least.